So today I'm going to be talking about my 10 European Union Copyright Directive predictions for 2021. But first, my name is Steve Smith, this is TQA Weekly. And if you haven't already done so, there is a join button down below. By joining, you gain access to a monthly live stream for members only and access to a members only Discord channel. The times for the live stream will be part of a poll, and of course the information for the Discord channel will also be available in the community tab. My 10 predictions don't come from just nowhere. Obviously they're based on Article 11 and 13, renamed to 15 and 17. Maybe they think we're stupid. Many of my predictions are based on the reactions of companies after the GDPR. News companies actually decided against allowing European Union citizens from accessing their websites, probably because not having more in-depth tracking and personalized advertisements means that they're worth less on a website, and they are. So people that don't allow for personalized tracking and advertising, you're simply worthless. And it's possible that websites simply say that if you don't want us to do specific things, that you don't gain access. And because of the copyright directive, it's also possible that websites simply say that because you're European and you're going to their website from a European country, that you will no longer have access to that website. So it's not coming from just some sort of far-fetched imagination. These are things that can happen now. So my first prediction is that because of the way that some of the members of the European Union can rewrite their laws, it's going to be hard to know if you're breaking the law or not. So it's possible that larger websites will favor, through their copyright filters, larger creators, big businesses, television, music, and movie studios first. And then everybody else will go through more in-depth scanning altogether. Because of the other fact that the big businesses, television, music, movie studios, and larger creators have an easier time of licensing their content, that's probably why. They're lower risk. The second prediction is that websites with smaller budgets or lacking the technology will rent the filtering technology from places like Google or Facebook, or simply block European Union citizens from accessing their website. Not something completely far-fetched, it's possible to do already. My third prediction is that because of this, businesses will have business-to-business services that allow them to figure out where you're coming from, even through a VPN, or they will block VPNs altogether. Netflix, FYI, already does this. My fourth prediction is that content creators will have contracts that actually make them fully responsible of all penalties, and they will be forced to reimburse the content delivery platforms if any litigation were to occur because they used content that was unlicensed in their video or unlicensed properly, which is an issue that we'll get to in my 10th prediction. My fifth prediction is that special kinds of insurance policies will help protect platforms from litigation, or at least cover the cost of litigation when it comes to the Eucd and how the EU member states actually go after the content delivery platforms. Keep in mind that Article 13, now 17, actually is more severe than the DMCA in itself. So it's also possible that this is a direct extension of having contracts required by content creators. My sixth prediction is that in an effort to protect themselves, content creators simply might block people from the EU from accessing their channel. And this is already kind of possible. If you licensed anything, it's possible for you to limit where the content is viewable. I'm predicting that maybe places like Vimeo and YouTube further the ability by allowing us to block entire series of countries instead of just whitelisting. So we'd be able to blacklist entire regions in one foul swoop. My seventh prediction is that game streaming will change dramatically. Consider for a moment that video and audio can have their own licensing issues. Consider for a moment that places like Twitch and YouTube, Hitbox, and others will have to license video games and license them for you to play on their platform. Otherwise, it would be exceptionally hard for them to actually allow that kind of gameplay to occur. And my eighth prediction is that the gaming industry itself will change how licensing is achieved for newer titles with online promotion, including terms for online streaming into the licensing of music and other content in the video games themselves. Some gaming companies might actually enforce a streamer mode or opt to use music and content for companies that are more lenient with their licensing for their content altogether. My 9th prediction is that all content uploaded to bigger places because of the filtering will result in having content that inaccessible until the user is either privy to all the licensing for the content and able to deliver the licenses for the content, or they have actually removed said audio and video from their creations to allow the contents to pass the copyright filters. And my 10th prediction, which is, by the way, based on the walled garden issue of licensing, is that creators and companies will force copyright holders to provide a coherent, universal, international licensing agreement for content, or various right holders might be forced into bankruptcy. I would love to see some of these companies backing the Article 13 end up going bankrupt because people will simply say, I don't want to use your content, I don't want to license it, and just go to hell. That's literally what I want, because the walled garden way of licensing is counter to the single market logic of the internet, and therefore it is incredibly complicated to license anything right now, which is why in our YouTube channels we specify which countries we have licenses for, because we can't simply license for everybody if we're trying to get it from these companies. So maybe some of these companies get their act together, allow for single international licenses that make it easier for a single market. Otherwise, I hope the other ones just go bankrupt, because if they go bankrupt, they will think twice before they try to pull this kind of shit again. I want to know what your predictions for 2021 are after the EU copyright directive comes into effect online. My prediction is some smaller companies not willing to license universally will go bankrupt. I hope so. Like this episode or dislike this episode, depending on what you think of it. Share with those as you think can benefit from this, and don't forget to subscribe. And if you have any questions, comments, suggestions for topics, email me at ask@tqaweekly.com or go to my website, tqaweekly.com, for the show notes on this, other episodes, access to the search engine to find other problems and solutions, and of course the contact form to email me directly. And if you haven't already done so, click the join button where you will be able to get part of the action when it comes to the live streams and the Discord channel. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.